Good morning. I think everyone knows I'm Keod Smith of renegotiate.org, and also in the past year as attorney for Minister FARRAKHAN. We have called for this press conference today for the purposes of addressing a newspaper article that appeared on the front page of the Tribune yesterday. Some of the things that spoke to, perhaps some of the things that it addressed were, in Minister FARRAKHAN's view, and the view of all who knew better, to be defamatory, in that it spoke to things and made innuendos which were improper. And so Minister FARRAKHAN, who is on his way back to the United States, having spent a few days in Bimini, asked to have you here so that he could address you, to make comment on this, as well as to field questions from you for a short while. And now we just want to say as a precursor that there is a great possibility that the minister will leave shortly before 12 o'clock because he has to be at the airport to check in time to make a flight back to the United States. So let's see if we can keep the questions short, and let's be respectful of the fact that we are working a time schedule. Thank you. Now, I'll just say who is at the table. Of course, sitting just in front of the microphone is Minister, the Honorable Louis FARRAKHAN. We have at the very end, at the northern end, is the Minister FARRAKHAN's son, Joshua. We also have next to Joshua, and in between Joshua and the minister is Mr. Peter Nygard, the son of Peter Nygard. Of course, the minister, myself, and we have on my left, we have Dr. Santiago, Leroy Santiago. You will take note that he's wearing a beanie. He is Jewish, but also a scientist in agricultural matters that worked with Mr. Peter Nygard that we will address in due course. So with that, I relinquish the microphone to Minister FARRAKHAN.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, members of the press, thank you so very much for this opportunity and privilege to correct something that I heard about in the newspaper yesterday while I was in Bimini. First, I would like to thank the government and the people of the government and the people of the Bahamas for the kind and wonderful reception that I received since I've been here. As you may know, on my first day here, I was taken to the Clifton Heritage National Park as a guest of Mr. Vivian Wiley and Keod Smith and Beverly Smith, and those who had come to bring attention to this struggle to make this national park a place where tourists can come to see what Africans did and the memory of those that paid a price for Africans to be here in the Bahamas. Mr. Nygard, as I reported, offered his plane to bring me from Miami to Nassau. I deeply appreciated that offer. I never knew Mr. Nygard before, nor had I ever heard of him. But I was invited by Mr. Keod Smith to his home. And we had a very beautiful and enjoyable evening, which I mentioned there, and I also mentioned it in my lecture at the University of the Bahamas. I am a simple man, as I said. I travel all over the world, and everywhere I go to deliver a message that I believe will be helpful to the people wherever I go. I never go anywhere seeking sport or play or women. And I mention that in the context that I just don't go out. But because I was a guest of Keod Smith, and they had something in honor for me at Mr. Nygard's home. And I was blessed on that night to see the Junkanoo band and dancers, and to watch Bahamian people, as I saw many years ago when I visited the Bahamas on Boxing Day on December the 26th, and I saw Junkanoo there for the first time. So to see the joy in the hearts and minds and spirit of the people as they danced, and to listen to the many testimonies of those that spoke very kindly of Mr. Nygard and what he had done to help so many people, particularly the golf, the volleyball, the track team, and other sports enthusiasts. So there I was in the midst of that, and afterwards I had or even before, I had a television interview with Wendell Jones and others. And the media was kind, but then it turned hostile. And even though we had a town hall meeting, which was packed to the rafters with standing room only, Mr. Nygard was present, his children were present, his staff was present, and we spoke, and from that moment, a friendship started. And it had nothing to do with what the Tribune suggests. Mr. Nygard and I discussed health. We discussed stem cell research. His son and I, we stayed up almost till 2 in the morning discussing sustainable agriculture, which we feel the Bahamas needs. So to suggest in a mischief-making way that Mr. Nygard invited me to his home to offer me women and play, but they quoted my words perfectly, but the spin that was put on my words was vicious and ugly and very untrue. So I thought that since I was in Bimini, and maybe they thought I had gone, that I would come and set the record straight by having this press conference. And so I will stop there and allow you to ask me any question that you have. Mr. Nygard's son is here. He heard every speech that I made while I was on the island. And so please ask me whatever questions may be on your heart. Would you name your media affiliation, please?
No question. Everything's perfect.
I'm sure there must be a question.
I'll just add a few things then in the meantime while they're formulating the questions. Some of the problems that we have, obviously, with the Tribune, and I don't know if this is going into your microphones, but that we have with the Tribune is that when we were leading up to organizing this event, we had sent around, and some of you from the various media houses would have heard certain ads, radio ads in particular, that were being aired on the various radio stations. one of them which spoke to the hole in the wall and made reference to Mr. Bacon's comments that he made at the reception of the Audobon Society in New York, where he was receiving an award. And in this, a very pertinent and very almost surreal, because of the year we live in now, 2013, almost surreal comment was Mr. Bacon spoke, and these were almost his exact words, where he was trying to be humble about having been named for this particular award. And he spoke about, he says, you know, as a Southerner, whenever I have these matters of trepidation, that would be my word, trepidation, that he looks to the Holy Book. And the Holy Book, he said, though, let me let you know that really when I say Holy Book, I mean Gone with the Wind. Now those were his words, and you can go to YouTube, he's on YouTube, he's saying those words. Those words were a part of the clip of this advertisement and this ad. And the 100 Jams, which we all know is an affiliate of the Tribune, wrote back to us and said, sorry, we cannot air that ad because we believe the reference to being a Southerner and Gone with the Wind is racist. So you, renegotiate, you, Keod Smith, would have to revisit this in order for this to go on. Now mind you, they did say that if the words that were referred to was made in the public domain, that they would accept the ad. And we pointed them to the website of the Audubon Society as well as to YouTube, where it was played. And still, they did not allow our ad to put on, because they said that to play it would mean it's slanderous. Now, we don't need to get into the deep aspects of the law, but it is my take and it is my view that by saying this, the suggestion is that the Tribune actually is representing Louis Bacon and has an intention to represent Louis Bacon. This whole affair, which is the Clifton matter, as we all know, rose up or started because of this comment or these comments that Mr. Bacon made. And so the Tribune has obviously taken a side, and the side is to support and maybe even hold brief for Mr. Louis Bacon. I have made it very clear that I believe Mr. Bacon is a liar because I was there during the fight 14 years ago, and he was not there. He certainly did not lead me. And I think that it's unfortunate that an old newspaper such as the Tribune would take this kind of posture and attack not only a visitor to the Bahamas, but someone of the ilk of Minister Louis Farrakhan, who I believe, notwithstanding all of the twists and turns, Minister, that people might have tried to put on what he said and done over the years, we all saw him up close. Most of you who are here saw him up close or listened in, and you know that there was not one utterance that was anywhere near the kind of views that now you appear in the newspaper. We have copies of the email that came from 100 Jams. The newspaper purposefully put in this a photograph of Mr. Peter Nygard attending or dancing with a Junkanoo dancer. We've seen this all the time. I know of many religious leaders who dance with dancers. But guess what? Because you all might not have been at the function, I know that you wouldn't have been. We had no costuming like that. None. In fact, the costuming, people were dressed like the young man you see here standing up in a black shirt. And you'll see Mr. Williams here was dressed up in cloth with message. And so these things were suggestive, especially when you take out of context this comment about women and sending women. And so these things are so reprehensible that I've been now instructed by my client, Mr. FARRAKHAN, to take steps toward finding legal remedy and recourse for this. It is injurious. Minister Farrakhan is the spiritual and religious leader of an organization and of a group of people that frown on that kind of behavior. And so to say something like that and to give the impression that he was in the company of people who were even trying to make certain overtures is reprehensible. and I do on behalf of the Bahamian people, condemn the Tribune for having taken that side swipe at our in this case mean Bahamian, at our guests. It was not warranted, and it was definitely out of context.
Chester Robards from the Tribune. Maybe if you want to clarify some of the comments that you did make at COB about women and maybe why you brought it up, just to get some clarification on it.
I made no comments about women. And any comments that I made about women, if you have those correct words that you quoted in the article, you would have known what I said. But I always speak of women in a very spiritual way, because that's our teaching. We never, ever downgrade or degrade women. To do that is against our teaching.
What I can do for you is I can read the excerpt that your reporter, Mr. Johnson, who's not here, that he actually took the excerpt from. And I read, this is a quote from Minister FARRAKHAN. "Rich people come. This is a paradise for everybody else but you. And we sit back and we allow ourselves to be put in a condition, and it's not other people's fault." I was at the home of Mr. Nygard, way out somewhere, a gated community. Some black people can't go in there except as servants, a cook, a butler, to care for the lawn. Last night, they had something there that I was invited to. That was amazing to see all the black people that came and put on a Junkanoo show for me. Now, you know, I'm a very simple man. My staff can tell you I'm not a sightseer. I don't see palm trees.
I've seen palm trees.
I done seen palm trees. He's using his accent here, I see.
Yeah.
I done seen palm trees. I'm not a person that go looking for bush. I've seen bushes. When I go, I come to do a job, to teach my people what God has blessed us to have to teach them. And I go back to my hotel. I'm not looking for sport. I'm not looking for play. So you can't send no woman to me except to learn. And I don't mean sex education. So I was in a place last night that was magnificently beautiful. And there were all these black people that came past the gate because Mr. Nygard wanted them there on that piece of ground that most black people just keep driving by, don't even go that way. And when white people come and own the land, the first thing they do, they make it a gated community. And they don't want no riffraff. You come, you do your work, and you get out. When nighttime comes, go. And there is always somebody to ask you, what are you doing here? In your land, did you hear me? Now, either this is yours or you're not the owner anymore of this. But you pay the price and the land is being sold right out from under your foot. And I don't need to go on beyond that, but we have a copy of the fuller passage for you to take away. And obviously Minister FARRAKHAN can speak to that, and against that backdrop, which Mr. Lemish Johnson would have heard, and he would have heard the entire speech if he was present.
So if you have a specific question for me, I'll be glad to answer it. But if you don't, just let me say how valuable media is to the freedom of the masses of the people against tyranny in any government. That's why in the United States of America, the media is the fourth estate, and it is the guardian of the three branches of government, the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch of government, so that whenever any one of these branches of government threaten the precepts and the principles upon which a republic is based, then the media is to protect the masses from tyranny. And if the media is owned, bought, and paid for by anybody, then the media is no longer free to do the job that any good constitution affords the media, that freedom of speech and that freedom of the press. And the reason I take umbrage at reading such an article, because the mischief inherent in that article is first to say that I came to this island and rebuked Mr. Nygard. Second, all those on this island who have benefited from Mr. Nygard's kindness. Now, they saw me, they heard me, and for them to read an article and they would think that Minister FARRAKHAN came and this was put in his honor and this is what he did to Mr. Nygard, then it puts me at odds with the people that I love and the people that I come to serve. And that is the mischief of a mischief maker using the media to divide and to put hatred between friends and brothers, or to break up a friendship even before the friendship is formed. So that is my displeasure with the writer, and I'm sure if it is suggested from outside, that is the interpretation that was designed to put me at odds with Mr. Nygard and put me at odds with the very black people that I come here to teach. And that I am displeased with. And I'm so glad that I was in Bimini and not back in Chicago, where I could hear such or read such and then respond appropriately and timely to what I consider as slander.
Could I maybe have a moment?
Yes, go ahead.
While the minister is here, I'd like to speak to my experience and from meeting Minister FARRAKHAN here. Before I had the chance and the pleasure and the honor to meet Mr. FARRAKHAN, I'll tell you what I heard. What I heard from people was that Minister FARRAKHAN was a controversial figure, that he hated white people, that he hated Jewish people. I have to tell you, I went to every single lecture that this man gave because I knew, as the leader of an entire nation of people, that I would be a fool not to think that I couldn't learn something from this man. So I went and I listened to him. And the message that he spoke of time and time again wasn't one of division, but rather one of unity, one of love. He spoke mostly, and I'm glad the Tribune's here because I was hoping maybe there would be an article about some of these issues that are so important to the Bahamas. I never saw one, but I would love to see one. How about agriculture? How about the fact that the Bahamas is importing over $700 million a year in food from the United States? Yet, we're not growing any food in the Bahamas. So that's a problem because if those ships stop coming in, there's no food on this island. You go for a week without those ships coming in, you have huge problems here in the Bahamas. Over 99% of the land in the Bahamas that could be growing food is not growing food. And the food that we are bringing into the Bahamas isn't helping us anyway. We are dying in the Bahamas. Now what the Nygard family, my father, Minister FARRAKHAN, Dr. Santiago over here, who is a Jewish person, what we all have in common is we have love for our fellow brother. Minister FARRAKHAN has talked about even in issues that that go against the books, the holy books, he still says, do not condemn your brothers. He's not about hate, he's about love, he's about unity. That was the message. And some of these topics that are so important to the Bahamas, we never heard about them. Dr. Santiago over here and I, and Minister FARRAKHAN, Dr. Santiago is an agricultural scientist. We've been working together to create a sustainable biofarm here in the Bahamas and lead by example. Haven't heard anything about that.
All of these things that he mentioned are points that I mentioned since I've been here. And on Tuesday night, I guess there are words that I spoke. I don't know who they inflamed, but I spoke of U.S. government policy. I quoted from Dr. Kissinger and Memorandum 200. That is actual fact. I don't make these things up, that the foreign policy of the United States government since 1976 has been to cull the population of our planet by 2 to 3 billion people, starting in third world countries. And they start with this policy went to the Department of Defense, the Department of Agriculture, to the Department of Intelligence, the CIA. All of these departments work together to fulfill a policy that is still being carried out. The food that is coming to the Bahamas, to the West Indies, is not food that is in the best interest of the people who eat it. And all you have to do is look at the deterioration of the health of the people in the Caribbean, and all throughout the Caribbean with rich, fertile land. We are not producing food to feed ourselves and our children. So our food is coming from outside. They are killing us, as I said on last week, through food, through chemical additives, through AIDS, through chemtrails, which maybe you may not have heard of, through vaccines. This is a plan. Now, some may think I have something against white people. Look, I have something against evil. I don't care who does it. If a black man is doing evil and it ill affects us, I speak out against it forcefully. I spoke against same-sex marriage. I spoke against everything that the Bible condemns that government says is all right. And maybe I offended somebody, and so my lecture on at the town hall meeting was never reported in any newspaper, to the best of my knowledge. Was it?
No, not yet.
So are you all bought and paid for? Is there something that I said that is untrue that you can call me a liar to my face? And if you cannot condemn me as a liar, then you are afraid of the truth, or somebody behind you is afraid of the truth. And as long as the media is afraid to tell the truth, when a man is courageous enough to speak the truth even at the cost of my own life, then you are unfit to represent this estate if you are bought and paid for by somebody else. So either you become a free press that fights for truth and justice for the people, or you should give it up. And if you are so much in love with going along to get along, then who are your editors that will take my words and then twist them and put your name on it? Tell them to come out front. I'm here now. Meet me.
Yeah.
And talk to me, because I can defend anything I say to anybody, from the head of government all the way down to the common man in the street. I am not a liar, nor would I come to the Bahamas to disrespect a man who hosted me in his home. I know nothing about Mr. Nygard except the good that I saw and the good that I felt and the good that I heard. Now, if you know something else, that's on you. And I'm sure my mother taught me as a West Indian mother, you don't have to lie on anybody because the truth about everybody is bad enough.
And so
I got to Gulam
yes,
now.
Yes. I'll just say this, just before we leave. So you see, in the context of the headline that you've printed in the Tribune, Nygard faces wrath of FARRAKHAN. There was no wrath, not in that piece I read, and Mr. FARRAKHAN was able to address that issue now. It is false, it is improper. But I'll say also, before the minister rises, that the Tribune on Tuesday, I believe it was, printed also in the newspaper that there was some division or friction between Minister FARRAKHAN and the Muslim community that is here, because they did not know he was coming. But the Tribune knew from me that I was hosting the minister here. And so how would the Tribune walk around the fact that they know who is the host and then try to create division and a problem? There is an intention behind the Tribune. They will be rebuked, all right? And it is unfair that someone would have put Mr. Johnson's name as the byline, because I do not believe Mr. Johnson wrote that article. That's my belief. And you can take that to the highest person in the Tribune, because the institution is trying to create a problem. That is the position. And so in the circumstances, it is unfair. But we need to let the minister rise.
May I say one more thing before I go? My first speaking engagement when I came was at the church of Bishop Gwyneth Davis. Go and listen to my lecture. At no time have I ever asked the people to become Muslims. If you're a Christian, I try to strengthen you in your own faith so that you're not a hypocrite when you say you believe in Christ and act satanic. You understand me? So when I talk to Muslims, I talk to us about living the faith that we say we believe. Because if Christians really live their faith, and Muslims live their faith, and Jews live their faith, then righteousness plus righteousness plus righteousness is righteousness cubed, and the whole world would be more righteous. So that is my lectures. So those of you who think that I've come here to take people out of the church, no. I came here to make them better Christians, better Muslims. And I'm sorry that my Muslim family did not get an invitation, but they spoke wisely when they said we didn't know that Minister FARRAKHAN was coming, and we did not have an invitation. But that is an oversight. But anywhere I go, I always love to see Muslims, Christians, Jews, whoever is here. You are my brothers, my sisters, and I want to see you united, because that's the only way we can stop those evil plans against our future. Thank you.